Alright. Hello, everybody. I am that role-playing Ginger, and this is the debut of my new little series that I plan on doing, and hopefully improving as I go along. This is called Rolled Up, and this is a series where I am going to use the tables that I have created using basically complete percentile and dice rolls randomization. We're going to 100% randomize the statistical side of a character. This is going to be for D&D 5e. The only two games I really feel like I can try and do that with at the moment are D&D 5e and Pathfinder 1, because those are the two that I have the most complete collections with. That being said, I do not have all the books for D&D 5e. I have most of the books. I do not have all of them, though. The books that I will be using are the Player's Handbook, the DMG, the Monster Manual, Princes of the Apocalypse, Curse of Strahd, Horde of the Dragon Queen, Rise of Tiamat, Storm King's Thunders, Baldur's Gate, Descent into Avernus. Did I say... Okay. Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, Volo's Guide to Monsters, Xanathar's Guide to Everything, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, Sword Coast Adventure Guide, and The Wild Beyond the Witchlight, and Out of the Abyss. Those are the ones that I currently had when I created all these statistics that I'm going to be using for the statistical side of this show. I just got in the mail yesterday the Mythic Odysseys of Theros and Eberron Rising from the Last War books, so I have not been able to add those into the calculation, so unfortunately those and the races and subclasses and everything that are included in those and not in the others will not be featured in this early episode. I do intend on, probably over the weekend, going through and adding all the content from those to these lists and charts that I've made. And that will make sure that I have the ability to randomly create a Leonin if we so luck out on doing. But the fun thing is, I am not just going to be doing this willy-nilly. No, I'm not just going to do that with no stress. Because why do anything without any stress, of course? It's my day off from work, why would I not want to be stressed? I'm going to do it timed. So we have 1 hour and 30 minutes for this debut episode to completely randomly roll up a character from the moment we get the paper down to having a completely fleshed out character that can be thrown into a story, have a great background, have good goals, potential and all that. Trying to use this as an exercise to better my creative side and see if I can challenge myself into coming up with more unique ideas using input from you guys in the chat and trying to just broaden my horizons when it comes to creating characters for tabletop RPGs. Because I love tabletop RPGs and I love making characters. I DM more than I play games, and one thing I love about being a DM is you make so many characters that you're throwing into your stories and everything. And that's part of the appeal for me. So I love creating new and interesting characters. And I thought this would just be a really fun thing to kind of do as a community thing. Once this is over, I do intend on airing this episode on my YouTube channel at YouTube, not dash, because I don't have enough. I don't have the specific link. But if you type in trpginger on YouTube, you will find me. I should be the only one. I don't know if that's true anymore, but I should be the only one. So yeah, what I'm going to do first is going to be a ritual that is going to accompany every single start of this. I'm going to take my handy-dandy monster bag of dice that I picked up, and I am going to randomly select the 7 dice that we will be using. Well, more than 7, because we're going to need the 4 d6s, so 10 dice that we're going to be using for this. So I have a good chunk of dice in here. I'm going to wiggle around, and the first dice, a d6. It is a nice black and white marbled one. Try to get it in the focus. Camera is a little backwards, but it's a black and white marbled one with gold numbering. So that's a 1d6. Use a d100 The D100 will be used. It basically depends on what part we're using. This is going to be one of our D10s. This is going to be the first one, the 10 digit. This is a dark, deep bluish one with some gold lettering. We have our D8, is a very sparkly orange one. I am colorblind, so sometimes I do get these mixed up. For stats, I am not using a D100 for stats. We have a very basic D6. It'll be added to that pile. We have our individual digit for the D100. It is a nice white and black marbly looking one, gold lettering. So we have our D100 set. We have our D12. It is a deep green with glitter inside of it with white lettering. That's a D10, so we don't need any more of those. The D20. It looks like it is a more seafoam green looking sparkly one, but it's a little lighter than the set used for the D10, but that could just be because there's more sides to it, so there's more chance for light to come through. So that'll be our D20. And let's see, we need a D4 and D6s still. So let's see if I can fish around for a D4. Got one. It is a very, very nice little simple blue one. A little bit of marblage and white lettering. What are we doing today? We are doing my debut of a series I call Rolled Up, where I've used a bunch of mathematics to create completely random statistic charts for creating a character. 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That will be our dice pool for today. We're going to be randomly rolling up every statistical part of a D&D 5e character, and then we have 1 hour and 30 minutes from the time I put the paper down on here, which starts with the rolling up of stats, to turn that statistical random character into a fully fleshed out player character that could be used in a campaign or as an NPC. Someone who's got full backstory, someone that's got goals, ideals, flaws. The idea is to basically have this be a really, really fun little creative project where we don't know what the stats are going to bring us, and we're going to have to, by the end of this, turn this into a character. And so we have our dice pool, and I should have it right up. There we go. Should be up here. Is my little window view of the charts that I have made. Again, I do not have the. I got 2 books in the mail yesterday: the Eberron Rising from the Last War and the Mythic Odysseys of Theros. So those 2 were too recent for me to add into the charts because I got them at like 11 o'clock last night, and I need to sleep at some point. So those will not be featured in this, but almost all the other ones I have right here. Right. So first, get the timer going. Set it right here for right now. We have 1 hour and 30 minutes. I'm going to give a little bit of leeway time for this as the series progresses and we get better and better at this. I'm thinking of cutting it down and then maybe even doing it as 2-parters every time. If it gets down to 1 hour, do a 2-hour episode doing 2 characters back to back. So, boom. We now have 1 hour and 30 minutes to get a complete fleshed out character. Got our regular standard Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition sheet. Alright, and the first step on my chart is the OCL, the overall character level. So what level this character is going to be by the end of this little session. We have 6. Character is going to be level 6. Next step are the ability scores, and for the first determining of the ability scores, I'm going to use the standard roll 4d6s and take away the lowest one, and we're just going to go down the list. And then after that, we are going to randomly roll of the d6 1d6 for the ability scores, and that will give us our +2 ability score, and then we will do it again, and it'll give us our +1 ability score. So, this is for strength. Alright, the 2 is the low one. We have a 14 strength. This is for dexterity. 2 is again the low one. We have a 13 dexterity. Constitution. Take out the 1. We have a 15 constitution. This character's already looking a bit beefy. Intelligence. Take out the 1, and we have 9. So, not a very intelligent individual to start the game off with. Wisdom. Take out the 2. We have 13. And for charisma, take out one of the 2s, and we have 9. So definitely a more physical attribute heavy character than mental. Alright, so now we have 1d6. So we are going to use this shiny one because it was the first one that caught my eye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our +2 ability goes into Constitution. So our Constitution is going to be 17 at level 1. Our next one is the +1 ability. 6. Our Charisma is now at a 10. So starting the game, this character's statistics are 14, 13, 17, 9, 13, and 10. Not too bad. It's actually better than the standard array, which I do like using the standard array a lot in games. If it's a hardcore, like we're going to the Tomb of Horrors, I like using dice rolls because there's a better chance you're going to get better characters than the standard array would have. Of course, there's also the alternatives where people end up rolling like 3 7s. All right, so step 3 in this, scroll it down, is the ancestry of the character, the race or ancestry, whatever you want to call it. I prefer using the word ancestry, and then the little variant ancestries per each one. I have them listed here. We're going to do a D percentile, so this will be the 10, this will be the single digit. We have 1 through 4 will be dwarf, 5 to 10 will be elf, 11 to 13 halfling, and then so on and so forth. Human, dragonborn, gnome, half-elf, half-orc, tiefling, Aasimar, Furbolg. I get it mixed up with the Furbolgs from World of Warcraft. Goliath, Kenku, Lizardfolk, Tabaxi, Triton, Bugbear, Goblin, Hobgoblin, Kobold, Orc, Geeth, Arakakruch. I don't really ever use them, so I can never actually pronounce their name. The Genasi, Dampier, Hexblood, Reborn, Fairy, and Harengon. The statistics for these have been chosen based on how many sub or variant ancestries they have. I have it listed right here. Every ancestry starts off with a base of 3 points in the percentage. Those with 3 or 4 sub or variant ancestries have an additional point, and those that have more than 4 have 3 additional points. Like the Dragonborn, now that Fizban's Tome of Dragons is out, has a much higher one. It has 7 points, I think. It's 6 points. Yeah. Because they have all the sub-versions now based on the different types of dragons. So, this is going to determine what our character's ancestry is. We have 56. 56 is a Tabaxi. Very nice. I have not actually played a Tabaxi yet, but I've been in games where others have. And the Tabaxi does not have any variants as of the books that I have. So I get to skip the variant ancestry portion of this. So we right now have a level 6 Tabaxi. We'll now go to background. The background will be another percentile. This one, it goes in 4s. And we got Acolyte, Charlatan, Criminal, Entertainer, Guild Artisan, Hermit, Noble, Outlander, Sage, Sailor, Soldier, Urchin are the basics. And then from the Sword Coast Adventure Guide, City Watch, Clan Crafter, Cloistered Scholar, Faction Agent, Far Traveler, Inheritor, and Knight of the Order, mercenary veteran, urban bounty hunter, and Uthgard tribe member. And then lastly, Watered Havian noble. And then from Wild Beyond the Witchlight, which is a book that I'm super excited to actually get to play in, or maybe run, because I love anything having to do with the Fae, we have Feylost, Feywild Visitor, and Witchlight Hand. And then from both Curse of Strahd and the Van Richten Guide to Ravenloft, we have the Haunted One. And then from the Van Richten Guide to Ravenloft, we have Investigator. Oh, thank you for the follower, Highland Lass. So we are going to give this Tabaxi a background. And this is not in a current setting or anything, so the rules of like, oh, Tabaxi would never be like a purple dragon knight or anything like that, that's out the window. We are literally making a character for a just base Dungeons & Dragons setting. So we got 43. 43 is a soldier. This Tabaxi was in wars. I'm thinking we're going to leave the personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws out, because I don't want to randomly roll those, because those are more on the character side of it than the statistical side of it. The entire random section of this series is going to be statistics. And then once we have the full layout of the statistical character, we're going to then turn it into a story-driven character. So, level 6 Tabaxi, who was a soldier in their life. Next one is, what class are they now? These ones are in a 1 through 7, or so 7% per one, ending with a multi-class. And if I had rolled 1 for the overall character level, and I ended up a 92 to 100%, which would have been multi-class, then I would add a level to it, and it would be 2 levels, and I would have to multi-class, and then so on. So if they keep multi-classing, then it would basically be nightmares. Alright, so, percentile, we've got Barbarian, Bard, Cleric, Druid, Fighter, Monk, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Sorcerer, Warlock, Wizard, and Artificer. We have 3. So they are a Barbarian, a Tabaxi Soldier Barbarian. I've not actually seen many Tabaxi Barbarians in games. Most of them have been Rogues or Bards in the ones that I've played. Alright, moving on to the subclass. So they are a Barbarian. The Barbarian has 8 different paths based on the books that I currently have. So I will be rolling 1d8 to determine which path this Barbarian is going to take at level 3. 7. They are going to be a Path of the Beast Barbarian. So, Path of the Beast, and that is in the Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Alright. So, now that we have that, I think... Yep, that's the feats chart. So the next step is to literally open the books and go through building our Barbarian. Move some things out of the way. Player's Handbook, because this is the start. Actually, we want to open the Volo's Guide to Monsters first, so that we can get the Tabaxi ancestry abilities taken care of. That's the way I go about doing it. I like to keep everything in a nice synthesized order. So, take out that. Lizard Folk, Tabaxi on page 115 or 114 of the Volo's Guide to Monsters. What tables are you using? I put all these tables together. I literally went through and spent a night and a half like mathing all of the things. I had the entire set of books that I have next to me, and I literally was like, alright, how can I percentage this number into so that everything can be decided by completely random Dungeons & Dragons dice rolls. And so I do have all of these. Basically, I sat there and just mathed them out myself. So these are all in my Google. It is, but I'm actually one of those weird ones that really likes math. The last class I took for math was a college statistics class, and I aced it. And so it's something that I've always just had a bit of an affinity for. Is there music playing in the background? Because there should be. Yeah, it's playing. Okay, so I don't know why it decided it didn't want to. But yeah, I have fun with statistics and everything. I had a friend while I was taking that class who basically was like, I hate statistics. It's all just make-believe math. And I'm like, well, you play Dungeons and Dragons and other tabletop RPGs, don't you? And they said, yeah. I was like, what do you think that is? That is like all statistics. Statistics is like all the work behind this game. He's like, no. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Alright, so the Tabaxi, they are a medium creature. But I don't think the size is on here. Let me see. I have the sheets all printed out behind me. No. But we do want to grab one of these. We are going to be needing it as well. Alright. So they are a medium creature. Their base walking speed is 30. They have dark vision. I like to do a little A right here for ancestry. They have dark vision up to 60 feet. They have feline agility. Their reflexes and agility allow them to move with a burst of speed. When they move in their turn, they can double their speed until the end of the turn. Once they use this trait, they can't use it again until you move 0 feet on one of your turns. That's interesting. I haven't actually done that. Math/numeracy in D&D, along with all the literacy and health well-being elements, is perfect for school D&D, even if not explicitly linked to it. Exactly. I know a couple people who they've been trying to implement using D&D at schools that they teach at to basically help students that are struggling in certain areas, and this could be like a fun way of doing it. It's, in my opinion, the perfect version of those old computer games that they used to have, where it was edutainment type games, where we're going to teach you by having you play the games, but those games just weren't really fun. Unless you get into stuff like Organ Trail, but that's not really teaching you much except that dysentery sucks, which it's pretty common knowledge, but when you're a kid, you don't really know what dysentery is. All you know is you died. So they got feline agility. Oh, I forgot to mention it, but the music that is being played in the background of this, I have at the top of the chat all the links to, but I'll also be mentioning them from time to time. It's a compilation that was put on YouTube by a user called Jota R, and it is a compilation of their stuff from a SoundCloud artist named SavFK, and a SoundCloud artist named White Sand that they have up there as free to use. So I have that playing in the background. Highly recommend you check out their stuff. They got some really cool music. So they have the feline agility. They've got cat's claws, which I will put over here, which allows them to get a climbing speed of 20. My writing is horrible today. I'm sitting pretty far back from the actual paper that I'm working on. And their cat's claws do 1d4 plus their strength in slashing damage. So that's cool. This barbarian could throw down a weapon anytime and just start slashing away. And they have cat's talent, which is proficiency in both perception, I believe. Yeah, perception and stealth. Super stealthy barbarian action. I can see it happening. Alright, and the languages they speak are common and one other one of their choice. And I actually have, not in the file, which is dumb of me, I actually had the languages for base D&D randomized as well. Let's find that page. Languages on page 123 of the player's handbook. I'm going to roll d20. 10. Their bonus language is Celestial. Interesting. We gotta start thinking about this. Why would a Tabaxi barbarian with the Path of the Beast know the Celestial Tongue? These are things we gotta think about as we're randomizing the character. Alright, the next step, because I need to pick this back up. The next step is the Barbarian. Barbarian level 1, because it is a level 6 Barbarian, so we're gonna go through this level by level, except for the proficiency bonus. Proficiency bonus at level 6 becomes +3. Alright, Barbarians have 1d12 per Barbarian level. So 6d12. And the first one is going to be 12, obviously. Always start with the high. 12 plus their Constitution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the numbers, because I'm going to randomly roll each level of hit point. And then add them together, and then 6 times the +3 from Constitution. Yeah, 6 times whatever the Constitution gets turned into, because there's always a chance that the feat that gets randomly determined will put this into Constitution. So, for the second level, 1. Oh no. Third level, 2. Oh my god, this barbarian can't take hits. 10. That kind of almost makes up for it, but not really. 5. And 8. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So without Constitution being factored in, we have 18, 38 hit points at level 6. Not looking good for this cat. Not looking good at all for this kitty cat. Alright, the Barbarian has proficiencies in their armors are light, medium, and shields. The weapons they are proficient in are simple weapons and martial. They are not proficient in any tools at the start of the game. That's something else I also forgot if I go do the background. We'll do the background after we take care of the basic level 1 stuff for a Barbarian. So the Strength and Constitution are the Barbarian's 2 proficient saving throws. So that's actually pretty good because our Constitution's high, which is good because we don't have much health. Choose 2 skills from Animal Handling, Athletics, Intimidation, Nature, Perception, and Survival. Well, we don't need Perception because we already have that. And I'm going to, and the way I do these is I will choose from the Barbarian list Sneak in 9 lives. I will choose from the Barbarian list of skills, and then once we go to the background, if it's something that I already chose, I will then go back to the Barbarian and swap it out with something else. Because I don't like my players to feel like they were gypped out on using a skill simply because they went in the order that the books basically recommend you create your character in. So I'm very much the kind of DM that does not want my characters to feel like I'm hindering them or using the guidelines of the book to nerf their character simply to nerf their character. No, I don't like that because I like my players to have fun. Because when the players are having fun, it bounces back and helps me have fun. Which makes the whole DMing process worth it. When your players are having a good time, you feel good as a DM. Alright, so 2 from Animal Handling, Athletics, Intimidation, Nature, and Perception, and Survival. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I will roll a d6 to determine them, and if it rolls Perception, I will re-roll. 4. Nature. And 4. 5 is the Perception. I just lost that dice. Alright, it's alright. We'll move on to another one. I'll find it. 6. So, Survival. So this cat barbarian, currently cat barbarian, has Nature, Perception, Stealth, and Survival. And Path of the Beast. So, maybe they were stuck out in the wilds on their own for a long time and became more feral. That's why they're good at hiding, at surviving, at knowing nature, and why they're more attuned to a beast-like aspect in their barbarianism. Alright. The equipment that they will start the game with is either a great axe or any martial melee weapon. So I'm going to roll a percentile die. You can do this with any, whenever it's two things, you can flip a coin, you can roll any dice, choose even or odd, or you can do percentile 1 to 50. If I could stop throwing dice around, that'd be great. 1 to 50. I actually have a coin that I can use. Let me grab that real quick. It's not far. It's literally right to my right. And it might bring some nostalgia to people. Might bring everybody a little bit of nostalgia when I bust out this coin. It's a coin from the oh-so-loved Fable 3 Collector's Edition box for the Xbox 360. So, if I can remember how this thing opens, I believe it is the bottom. Yep, the bottom slips open and slides out, and you have a deck of cards based on Fable, and you have a Fate coin from Fable. Red and blue. And now the whole table's dirty. I'm going to be using the Fate coin. Ugh. So, we're going to do red will be great axe, blue will be any martial weapon. Red is a great axe. That was a horrible flip, but we're going to stick with it. So they start the game with a great axe. Alright. The next one is either 2 hand axes or any simple weapon. So again, red will be 2 hand axes, and blue will be any simple weapon. Oh, on the table, please. Blue, any simple weapon. So now we will go to the simple weapons page. Here on page... Aha! Page 149 of the Player's Handbook. And we've got 10 simple melee weapons that it could be. So I will simply roll 1d10. 8. 8 has a quarterstaff. Maybe like a walking stick. Something they were using to help climb around and get rid of some of the bushes and everything out of the way when they were hiding out wherever they were stuck. Alright. And then lastly, they have an explorer's pack. And 4 javelins. Alright. So now that we got level 1 taken care of for that, let me grab an index card. I have a stack of them that I'm going to be using as bookmarks. Put that at the barbarian sheet, and then head off to the backgrounds area, because this is a soldier. Alright, the soldier gets skill proficiencies in both athletics and intimidation. Good thing is, neither of those two were already picked, so that makes this easy. Alright. Their tool proficiencies, they get 1 gaming set and vehicles land. So I'll type vehicles land. And I believe there are 3 gaming sets in Core 5e. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 gaming sets, so we will simply use the D4. 2. They are proficient in dragon chess. Now, why would they know dragon chess? Maybe they knew dragon chess before they had to go out into hiding into the wilds, which is why they became more Path of the Beast barbarian. Maybe they came from a church or some sort of clerical society, which would give them their knowledge of celestial, and dragon chess would be a game that could be taught at churches and everything. This is getting interesting. Alright. And they have the following items from their past. They're also a soldier, though, so we gotta keep that. I gotta keep that in mind, too. So they have an insignia of rank. They have a trophy taken from a fallen enemy. they have a set of bone dice or deck of cards. We'll flip a coin. Blue will be deck of cards, red will be bone dice. They have a set of bone dice. And they've got a set of common clothes, obviously. And a pouch containing 10 gold. So they have a pouch and 10 gold. Alright. And then, you know what? I will do one of the things from the background. I will do the specialty, because that adds flavor to the character, and it is a statistic. So, 5. They were a healer in the army that they served in, so that can help tie into their celestial nature. The fact that they know celestial is because they were a healer in an army. Alright. Starting to make waves. And I think that is... Nope, it's not too important, but we'll go ahead and do some money. We'll do some random monies. The Barbarian starts with 2d4 times 10 gold. 4, 3. So they get 70 gold on top of the 10 that they have. So they get 80 gold at the start of the game. Not bad for a Barbarian. Let me check Volo's guide real quick to see if there are random height tables and everything for the tabaxi. I'm one of those DMs that also really likes it when you do the height and all that kind of stuff, how heavy your character is, because it puts in your mind, they do have it, it puts in your mind a more complete visual sense of the character that you're creating. So the tabaxi, their base height is 4'10", their base weight is 90 pounds. We will do 2d10, it says. So that and that. 2d10, and I will add this to their height and multiply it by 2d4 and add it to their weight. 2d10, 10, so they're 4'10", which turns into 5 feet 8. So it's an alright, pretty tall tabaxi. Not the tallest, but still alright, not too short. 5'8", and then 10 times 4 and 2, so 10 times that is 60. 60 plus 90, 150 pounds. Pretty big for a cat, for a tabaxi, but given their height, it kind of still keeps them in that slimmer area. I'm 6'2", I weigh 240 pounds, and I'm heavy as hell. So yeah, tabaxi is now taken care of. The next step would be to level this person up. I'm not thinking I'm going to apply a gender to the character until we get into story, and then, because even then, the character's gender can always change. Characters are gender fluid, and I love that. And so I don't want to stick this individual with a gender that then has to help us conform everything to the idea of that gender. So we're going to leave it just completely neutral right now, and we're going to level it up in Barbarian. So now level 2, I'll put a mark of 1 up here so we know that we got level 1, and now we are working on level 2. So level 2 Barbarians, oh, I also forgot Barbarians get Rage. And they can rage a number of times shown for the Barbarian level. I'm going to go ahead and put that up at 6, so they can rage 4 times per long rest. Long rest. So I do 4-LR. And that's my 4 per long rest. And what that'll do is advantage on strength checks and saving throws, so I'll just put advantage strength. Melee weapons with strength gain a bonus to damage roll equal to the bonus equal to the thing. So this level 6 bonus will be +2 strength damage. They have resistance. Oh yeah, the thing that makes barbarians absolutely terrifying. They're crazy resistances, especially the path of the... What is it? The path of the Totem Warrior Bear? Yeah, Path of the Totem Warrior Bear is one of the most extremely powerful things you can have in this game. And if you find that a Path of the Totem Bear is being abused in your game, best way to do it, throw in some psychic enemies. Throw psychic enemies at them. The Path of the Bear will not stop that. Alright. So, they will then get resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. And it lasts for 1 minute. It ends early if they're knocked unconscious, obviously. Or if they haven't attacked a hostile creature since their last turn or taken damage since then. That's something that I've had players try to abuse in certain games, because I've dealt with a lot of players that were trying to basically pull one over on me as a DM, and never do that. Thank you for the follow, Casual Vandal. Never do that to your DM. Your DM's there; they're putting in the time to give you this experience. Don't try and pull a fast one over them. It's just going to make them upset. And the DM can just throw Tiamat at you whenever they damn well please. It's in the books. The books say you can do basically whatever you want as the DM. I could throw a Tiamat at characters if I get fed up with them. I don't want to do that, but I could. So don't piss off your DMs. But yeah, the thing they tried pulling over on me... Hello! The thing they tried pulling over on me was I had a party member who was basically like, if our barbarian can't get to the enemy in time before their rage goes out because they have to either get hit or hit a hostile enemy, then they basically would be like, just hit me, and the barbarian would turn and smack the party member and basically say, well, I hit something, so I keep my rage. It doesn't work like that. It has to be a hostile target, a hostile creature, which means that in order for the barbarian to do that, the other player has to first attack the barbarian. So, just don't try to pull fast ones over the DM. It's a game, everybody. Piss off your DMs in great moderation, in your opinion. No, you can definitely try to, get on your DM's nerves. That's something that you can do, if it's a lighthearted, fun thing, definitely do it. But if you're literally trying to basically just screw them over, and you know that it's something that you wouldn't want someone to do to you as a DM, don't do it. That's just not nice. Alright, so barbarians also have the unarmored defense. Which means 10 plus their dexterity plus their constitution whenever they're not wearing any armor. So that's actually not bad, because their constitution's pretty high. So right now they would have, they'd have a 14 armor class at the start of the game. Unless they wanted to try and increase that by spending their 80 gold to get something else. But their constitution's being tanky skin, exactly. Their constitution is being what's giving it to them, so basically they'd have to have an armor set that gives them a 13 plus the dexterity in order to equal out this 14 plus dexterity in order to get better than what they currently have. So they're currently sitting okay. And now is level 2. So, at level 2, they get the Reckless Attack, which barbarians are very, very good at using. And that's the ability to give them self-advantage on a weapon attack that uses strength. They get advantage on it, but every attack against them until their next turn has advantage on them. So it is something this person would have to worry about a little bit because their health isn't the best. Alright. And then also at level 2, they get Danger Sense. This is a note for DMs out there. Make use of Danger Sense. Keep a note next to your barbarian party member that just says DS or Danger Sense. It's something that it's part of their class. They don't ever really get to use it. It's something that you basically have to keep in your thoughts whenever you're having a barbarian character in the class. You need to keep that in mind because it's a major part of their class early in the game. They're supposed to be able to, like, Matrix-style dodge, like, dart traps and stuff like that. Their natural instincts are that honed. So a lot of DMs like to just ignore it. Don't ignore it. It's something that it's part of being a barbarian. It's also another reason why a lot of barbarians are sent first into rooms and everything if you don't have a rogue. You send a barbarian in because, number one, barbarians can usually take the damage. Number two, they usually have danger sense. Alright. Level 3, because we did randomly roll that this is a level 6 character, so level 3. The character is going to choose their primal path. And the primal path that was randomly determined is the Path of the Beast. Oh yeah, barbarians can definitely be fun and terrifying, especially once you get into, like, high level, like 10, 11. That's when the barbarian, you could be like, I throw him at a dragon. I throw my barbarian character at the dragon, like, head first. And he'll be fine. So we need Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, which is in the pile. Hopefully not too far down. It is pretty far down. It is third from the bottom, of course. I have a notorious bad luck run when it comes to needing the books, because anytime I'm running a game and somebody's like, well, what does this rule mean or whatnot, the book that I need to get to help clarify it all is always right at the bottom of the stack. It astonishes me just how often that happens. And I don't know if that's common for everybody else, but it is absolutely just, it's astonishing just how much that actually happens to me. Alright, so this is a Path of the Beast Barbarian. The Path of the Beast. We'll do the origin, see where they got their Path of the Beast ability. 2. They are descended from an archdruid and inherited the ability to partially change shape. So I'll just put archdruid. And form of the beast. When they enter the rage, they can transform, revealing the bestial power within them. Counts as a simple melee attack when you get a natural weapon. Counts as a simple melee attack. You choose the form each time you rage. So this one we don't need to worry about too much. They get all of them, and they just choose it as they go. They get a bite that deals 1d8, plus their... Oh, no, just... Okay, yeah, plus their strength. It's strange that they don't have plus the strength in the actual, like, stat for the attack. They have it in the paragraph above. They get to then regain a number of hit points equal to their proficiency bonus if they have less than half their hit points. So that's a really good thing for the bite. You're basically just eating the individual you're attacking. They get claws, which is cool. The Tabaxi already has claws, but the claws, when you go into Path of the Beast mode, go from their 1d4 plus strength to a 1d6 plus strength. And on each of their turns, when they attack using claw, they can make an additional claw attack as part of the same action. So yeah, it basically makes their claws more powerful. And they could choose to have a tail, which Tabaxis have a tail. So this would basically turn that tail into a weapon. You grow a lashing, spiny tail, which, see, a Tabaxi's covered in hair, I imagine that would turn into probably like spines, like a porcupine or something. Or oh god, what are the Manticores? Manticores have the spiky tail. Something like that. It deals 1d8 plus their strength piercing damage. What beast do they look like? It's a really good thing. That's something we're going to have to think about, because right now we're doing all the statistical parts of it, and then once we have all the statistics taken care of for the character, then we have whatever time we have left, which right now is 49 minutes, to turn this into a fleshed out character, ready to be thrown into a world either as a player or an NPC, whatever. If a creature you can see within 10 feet of you hits you with an attack roll, you can use your reaction to swipe your tail and roll a d8, applying bonus equal to your AC. A bonus to your AC equal to the number of damage, the number rolled. Potentially, that's really cool. You get your tail as an AC booster. Alright, so that's what they get at level 3 from the Path of the Beast. I don't think the barbarian gets anything else at level 3 besides their path. They do not. So now we move on to level 4. That's one of the big ones. It's at least the big one for this character, because that means feat time. Which, let's go to the random feat, which was the craziest chart I had to make. I literally, because it was like, there's 92 options in all the books that I have for feats. How do I roll 92 without just rolling the percentile and re-rolling anything 90, 93 and above? So I did all the math. I'm going to need another d20. That's not a d20. That's a d20. Nice dark purple one. I call it my magic missile dice. So 2d20 plus 1d10 plus 1d8. Let's roll it up just a little bit. That's the mathematics I got to make this random dice roll work. So I'm basically going to roll all these and add them together. If it's a feat from the Xanathar's Guide to Everything, I'm just going to have to re-roll because the Tabaxi don't have race-specific feats. So we got 17 and 9 is 26, plus 3 and 3, so 26 is 32. So they are getting a feat this level, and the random feat they are getting actually works with what we were thinking originally. They get Magic Initiate, and the Magic Initiate that they are taking is Cleric, which makes sense given that they were a healer in an army, and they know the Celestial language. So something must have happened while they were a healer in an army that I'm thinking got them stranded in some wild, crazy environment where they basically had to resort to animalistic behaviors, which is where they get Path of the Beast Barbarian, to survive. And it basically, they were out there for so long, not able to get away, that they basically just devolved into a beast. Like the reverse of Mowgli, where he was more animalistic and he became more human when he went back into human society. Or Tarzan, same kind of thing. This Tabaxi, I'm thinking, had the reversal of that, where they were civilized, and something happened, they got stranded somewhere, and the only way to survive was to basically stop being a sentient, tall, cat-like creature and become a feral beast of this wildlands. So they get Magic Initiate, Cleric, which, let us see. There we are. They get 2 cantrips from the class's spell list, and in addition, they choose 1 first-level spell to learn from that list. Alright. So they're actually getting some spells. Time for spell sheet. So they are using the Cleric as their spell. Clerics rely on Wisdom. Not the best, given this guy's Wisdom. Wisdom's actually is better of the 3 scores. So, oh yeah, Wisdom right there. They get 2 cantrips and 1 first-level spell. The spell save is 8 plus their proficiency bonus is a 3. Is that a guy pointing at the what beast do they look like? Because I still don't know what beast they look like. It depends on where we think this person might have got stranded. If it was a jungle-like environment, maybe they literally just became a wild, like panther-like Tabaxi. Or maybe if it was a reptilian thing, maybe the Tabaxi's got a bit of an elongated face that's more reptilian, or some scales where fur would be. So 8 plus 3 plus their wisdom is plus 1, so 8 plus 3 plus 1 is 8 plus 1, 12. And this is going to be plus 4. So they're not the best at casting their cleric spells, but cleric spells aren't often offensive, and if they were a healer, it would make sense for them to have less offense spells and more healy spells. So, let's go to the cleric list. Actually, I need to see, because I'm pretty sure I don't have them here. But I had somewhere. Move tab to another window. And open it here so it doesn't mess up the stream. Going to my folder for rolled up. I don't think I added it to the thing. That might be something I've forgotten. If so, I need to do it after this. I think I have every... Yeah, I have every spell for the classes listed based on the books that I have. So, cleric spells. There they are. I'm going to roll 1d10 to figure out what their first cantrip is. That is 8. Alright. Their first cantrip is Toll of the Dead. Now we need to decide how they know, why they know Toll of the Dead. And their second one, I need to re-roll that, is a 7. So, Thaumaturgy. And then first level spells. Roll this. 3. They know Ceremony. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Alright. So, now we have a Tabaxi healer in an army who knows the Celestial language, so they don't have any healing spells yet, so they are probably very early on in their healer training or healer path. So that they didn't learn the healing arts of magic yet. They knew the basics of how to run a ceremony. And they were able to start manipulating the bonds of life and death that healing and other necromancy-style abilities utilize. Thaumaturgy could be a result of their very first sign of, hey, that we have magic. So... I can make that. We can make this work. We got this. We got this. So that's level 4. Alright, moving on to level 5 for the Barbarian. Level 5, the Barbarian gets their extra attack. Something a lot of classes especially love. Although I did have a buddy in one of my games who was really upset that natural rogues don't get an extra attack, and I was like, because they have their sneak attack, and they could do it so easily in 5e. Your sneak attack is essentially doing like 10 hits of damage each time. You only need the one. And they get their fast movement. If you hear my dog, she is a little upset because she destroyed one of her toys, and it's a choking hazard for her now. So it's sitting up on a piano out in the living room, and she sees it. She really wants it, but she's not going to get it. Because I don't want her to choke. I know, I'm sorry. I'm horrible. So their normal walking speed is now 40. Alright. Then we go to level 6. Level 6 is a big one for the Path of the Beast. Level 6. Path of the Beast Barbarian gets Bestial Soul. Bestial Soul. Pharaoh power within them increases, causing the natural weapons to count as magical. So, magic, natural weapons. They get immunity to non-magical attacks and damage. That's pretty good. We need as much defense for this character as possible because their HP is lower. Immune to non-magical. Immune to non-magical... I lost my spot. Attacks and damage. That's crazy powerful. Tasha's Cauldron of Everything is still a new book to me. So, seeing this is like, whoa, that's intense. They gain one of the following. Every single time they finish a short or long rest. They gain a swimming speed, so short rest. I don't put long rest on things that say short or long rest because I consider them to be tiered. And so I feel like if it says short or long rest, if you're getting it in a short rest, a long rest will usually count as that short rest as well. If it says long rest, then you know that short rest will not count. So during a short rest, you can change between getting a swim speed equal to their walking speed with water breath. They gain a climbing speed, which they already have a climbing speed. And including upside down on ceilings. Nice. Upside down. And when they jump, they can make a strength athletics check to extend the jump by a number of feet equal to the total. So, strength, athletics, total to jump. And once per turn. So, once per turn. That's pretty awesome. I like that. And that, now we can figure the total hit points. So we have 38 hit points from all the dice. And then their constitution is a 17, so 3 times 6 is 18. So we have a total of 56. Their hit points are 56, which is 6d12 plus... I know, I'm sorry, you want your toy. Plus 18. 6d12 plus 18. Alright, we have our barbarian. Time to fill in some spots. Their strength is going to be plus 2, plus 1, plus 3, minus 1, plus 1, and 0. So their strength saving throw is 5. Their constitution saving throw is 6. Their athletics, 5. Intimidation is 3. Nature is intelligence. Oh yeah, intelligence. I'm thinking. No, the knowledge natures were still intelligent. I'm confusing it with survival. So nature is going to be 2. Perception is going to be 4. Stealth is going to be 4. And survival is going to be 4. Which means their passive perception is 14. Alright. We have the statistical side of this tabaxi. They are swinging at plus 5, and throwing the javelin. They're throwing weapons, so plus 5. Alright. We have the statistics of our tabaxi. So, let's go over a quick review, because we now have 35 minutes to finish up this character's story. I don't usually stick to an alignment, because alignments change based on day-to-day actions, typically. So, we have a tabaxi, who was once a soldier. Not just a soldier, but a healer in whatever soldier group they were in, whether it was a mercenary group, whether it was an army. They were the healer of that group. They have the magic initiate feat, which means that they were training to become a cleric. However, we can see, just because they only have the few cleric spells and none of them seem to be fitting to the healing that they would have done, you can see that they were not very far along in their training as a cleric. They noticed that they had the potential for the cleric's magic, probably through their thaumaturgy. They noticed that probably at a young age they were able to look at things, and doors would close when they wanted them to close, or windows would open if they wanted the window to open. Little things like that, snuffing out candles, relighting them just with a stare. So the people were quick to notice that this person has some spellcasting ability, and whoever noticed that must have sent them to become trained as a cleric, as opposed to having them become a sorcerer or having them become trained to be a wizard. So they went on the clerical path. They started to learn and dabble in the arts of life and death magic which are necessary for both healing magic and destruction, like death, necromancy, and all that. So they had a small understanding of it, but they might have been struggling with it, which is why the only spell dealing in life and death that they know is Toll of the Dead. So maybe they had exercises where it was like this mouse is about to die. Use your magic to heal it, and they tried, and all it did was kill it faster. And so they didn't excel at their clerical arts. But because they were still being trained, they learned what's necessary to do simple things around. They were probably tasked with like cleaning the church halls or something like that. They learned how to perform certain ceremonies. Like they were able to perform a wedding, or they were able to perform the D&D equivalent of a christening or something like that, because that's stuff that most clerics would just be trained to do and know when they weren't off adventuring. So they had an early cleric training, and then something happened. Early cleric training, and then a war wherever they were at started to break out. The country was going to war. There were calls to arms. We need healers, so they go to the churches or clerical societies and say, we need healers in this army. Send whoever you can. And it got so desperate to a point where they started sending new recruits that they knew did not have all of the magic necessary to be good healers in the army. But this one was dedicated to being a healer, so they sent them along. On the way, they know the Celestial language as well. That was their randomly determined language. They know the Celestial language again because of their clerical upbringing. Along the way, something bad happened to whatever band of soldiers this particular tabaxi was sent into. And they might have been the only survivor. They might not have been. The only thing is they no longer had that band around them. They might have been ambushed. And what few survivors did make it out got scattered and lost in the environment that they were around. What kind of environment would it be? I like the idea of it being like this tabaxi was part of a professional military group that was going through probably a very dense woodland or maybe a jungle. And I like the idea of a jungle because it's reminiscent of the Jungle Book. So I'm going to go with they had to travel through some jungle lands to get to where they needed to be. And along the way, they were killed. For the most part, all of them were killed by... I'm going to say they were killed by guerrilla soldiers, probably from the neighboring army, or even just local civilizations that were troubled by the fact that this nation was sending troops through their lands to get to the fighting. So whatever it was, I'm going to say it was local civilization, rather than the actual enemy they were going after. Saw it as an affront to their home that you're sending. Let me restart the music. You're sending soldiers through our lands without our permission, and you need to stop this, or we're going to start taking action. And they did that anyway, and this person was in one of the groups that was sent. Their soldier group was taken out by these guerrilla people living in the jungle. And I say guerrilla not like the animal, obviously, like guerrilla warfare. And this tabaxi survived. They must have gotten lucky. Maybe they were trapped under the body of a horse or something, and the guerrilla soldiers weren't really focused on investigating so much as attack and then vanish. And so there's somehow this individual survived, but now they're alone. They're trapped in a wild jungle environment. They have been trained to be a cleric. They don't have a really strong affinity for healing. So they're scared that they're not going to survive. They don't really know how to survive too much out in the wilds. And so maybe a day goes by and they haven't really eaten, or maybe they've tried to eat some berries and it turned out they were poisonous, and they get sick. This person is scared because they are getting closer and closer to death. And so that's when they come across some sort of wildlife, an herbivore or something, and their primal instinct starts to take over, and using their cat's claws ability that tabaxis have, they kill the creature and eat it. And it's sustenance, it's survival. They start to think, okay, this is how I need to survive, because I can't find my way out of this place, and I'll just starve to death if I don't hunt. If I don't become the predator, I will become the prey. And so they start down this path of, I need to do what I need to do to survive. Not only that, they're in a hostile environment ruled by a civilization that clearly does not want them there. The guerrilla warfare troops that took out the band of soldiers they belong to. And so they are not only having to survive wild beasts of the jungle, giant snakes, all sorts of nightmarish things, but they're also having to survive against these individuals that maybe aren't actively pursuing them, but if they see them, they know they will get killed by them. And so they start to become more adapted to this jungle environment. They start getting more mangy. They're using the fact that they're tabaxi and that they have like certain fur collars and everything to kind of blend in with their environment, hide in the shadows. They're very stealthy, being a tabaxi. Maybe they went into the army issued with some heavier gear for a cleric to keep the cleric alive. They probably would have abandoned that because it's a hindrance to their dexterity and it's a hindrance to their ability to stealth around. And so you have this almost Tarzan-like tabaxi who has faint traces of magic still that they recall from their clerical years. The Toll of the Dead that they were using, that they tried to bring the rat back to life or bring the mouse to life in their early studies, but they realized that it made them die faster. That's probably something they're using as part of their hunting now. They realize I can hit things from afar with whatever this is, this ability that I have, and if it helps me survive, I'm going to use it. They're using a quarterstaff and javelins for the most part, just weapons they were able to put together in their isolation out there. So they're using those, and when they don't have those, they always have their claws. Eventually, the path of the beast starts to take over their mind. They start becoming a more ferocious one. They, like, maybe the locals now have tales that they start to pass around throughout some of the years that don't go in this part of the jungle because there's some giant wild cat that lives there. And you can see that it's not all right when you see its face and its eyes. You can see that its mind is a little taken by the jungle. 25 minutes. So their mind is a little taken by the jungle. They're super deadly. They have completely begun to adapt to the jungle in ways that even these locals have not really thought of. Mainly just because it's a separate mindset and an understanding of the balance of life and death from their cleric teachings that maybe gives this thing an edge. They start to become way more effective hunters. They're taking down beasts that are their size, if not bigger, using nothing but their rage, their cat's claws, and maybe like the bite that their Path of the Beast gives them. Stuff like that. They're fighting tooth and nail to survive. And that's what I think, and that's what I'm thinking for this character. And I'm actually really digging it. Don't have a name for the character yet, but I do like the idea of playing around with something similar to like Tarzan or Xena, any of the typical like warrior barbarian characters that kind of like lose themselves to the flow of their fight. And so, something along the lines of that would probably be most fitting for this character. I do... let's see. Let me pull up the Volo's Guide to Everything, because usually they have ideas of names. The Hunter of Hunters. Oh yeah, that's a very fitting idea for this character. Is a tabaxi who went into the forest went into the jungle like, I'm gonna be a healer. I'm taking care of... Oh, I actually just realized that this is not where it needs to be. I'm going to see if I can't fix this. That didn't really do it. Let's see. Alright. Well. Anyway. But yeah, definitely a Hunter of Hunters. This cleric lost themselves to the jungle environment they were in and are now, like, a known threat to local civilization. So maybe they start banding... Maybe it could be this character is still out there, and that this would be a character that players coming across or coming into that territory would hear legends about. And maybe this would be an antagonist to the party, because outsiders coming in, or it could be a friendly NPC eventually, because maybe the idea of outsiders coming in will cause them to flash back to when they were the outsider coming in, which will start to slowly bring them back to the grips of humanity. Which could be a really cool little plot hook, because then if you have this character accompanying the party, this character could always have that, the party could always have that thing of, is this person really alright, or are they going to, is something going to trigger them to go back to this I am the hunter way, and I am going to kill or be killed, and I don't want to be killed. So that could always be just lingering in the players' minds of, yeah, we have this amazing, ferocious barbarian in our party, but we don't really have any pure idea that this guy won't just turn around and look at us and see us as prey. So I'm really liking that. I got this book out, yeah. I got the Volo's Guide to Monsters out because I wanted to see if they have they do have sections on character names and all that. So tabaxi names are typically, they have a single name determined by clan and based on complex formula that involves astrology, prophecy, clan history, and other esoteric factors. So I'm thinking they would have a name that would then be adapted into a name for the clerics, and then in the wilds that name might start to adjust to more fitting. Their clan names are typically based on geographical feature located in or near the clan's territory. So they would probably lose their clan name as they were out in the wilds, and they'd probably not even refer to themselves as a name at all. It'd probably just be a name given to them by the civilization in the jungle as like just a way to identify this threat in the area. So some of the tabaxi sample names they have are like Cloud on the Mountaintop, 5 Timber, Jade Shoe, Left-Handed Hummingbird, 7 Thundercloud, Smoking Mirror, Skirt of Snakes. So I actually really like the idea that this individual's name would be what you said, Casual Vandal, Hunter of Hunters. I think that's a really fitting name for this character. So this tabaxi would be named Hunter of Hunters, not by themselves. This would be the name that the locals that live in the area would refer to them as. Like, don't go out into this part of the jungle, because the Hunter of Hunters is out there. And even if you're out there hunting yourself, you will then become the prey. And so I think that's a very perfect and fitting name for this individual. And I think we have a nice, well-rounded character. What we don't know right yet is, because we get some of their personality from this, they clearly are going to be a less talkative individual, which accounts for them not having a high charisma. Their intelligence being slightly lower isn't a bad thing, It could be representative of them basically losing their scholarly knowledge that they had from growing up in a clerical society in exchange for survival smarts. Like, that's where their wisdom comes in. Their wisdom is the highest of their mental abilities. And that's probably one of the ways that they survived so long, was they used a lot of their wisdom as well as their physical prowess. So, I'm thinking they're not going to be a very talkative individual. When they go into battle and they start to rage, I imagine that they're doing the tabaxi equivalent of, like, a wild cat roaring. But they're also capable of being silent and stealthy, but once they're out in the wilds, they're going to do everything they can to intimidate the enemy, and just anything they can do to get that upper edge on the enemy, or on the prey. That also accounts for their flaws. They're clearly not going to be somebody that can just walk right back into society. Their mind has been changed, and they've become more animalistic, and so they're going to lose a lot of those social cues that they might have had before getting lost in the jungle. And so that's a big flaw in theirs, is that they'll probably seem abrupt if they go into a place, like if they're brought into a tavern by whatever group they're with, and they see like a smoked pig or something that they want to eat, they'll probably just go over there and take it. And if anybody tries to stop them, they're probably going to, like, attack. Because that's food. I need the food. If I don't have the food, I won't survive. I'd rather survive than have you survive mentality. Their bonds, what they could have, especially if there is a cleric in a party that they end up belonging to, they could have a slight magical inclination or understanding of the cleric that they don't quite understand. Like, they feel a connection to the cleric, especially if it's a healing cleric. They might not even have the same deity or the same backgrounds or anything, but it's that touch of divine magic that could basically be like, I don't know why, but I feel like almost a pack member mentality with the cleric of the party. So that could be really cool. And then, what does this character want? That's going to be the last thing I think we discuss with this one. What are the things this character wants? Because clearly, this character wants to survive. This character does not want to die. That has probably gotten to a point where that is a deep-rooted fear that they never show as a fear, but they have a fear of dying. And that could definitely be tied to the fact that they were failing at their healing magics. That they were more aligned with death in their clerical journey than they were with life and healing. And so that could be a deep-rooted fear going all the way back to their early years. So what do they want? They want to survive, obviously, but is there anything else that they're wanting? Maybe they're wanting companionship. Like, not even romantically, just they've been out on their own for so long, and anything that they came across was either something that was terrified them and tried to flee, or something that tried to kill them. And so it's got to be lonely. And so now that they've found maybe a group that has brought them into their ranks, they want some companionship again, and are starting to get loyal, not fully trustworthy, but that mentality of, if you go out and hunt and give me some food that you hunted, then I will in turn go out and hunt and give you some food. That kind of tribal mentality of, we take care of the people that take care of us. So I'm thinking that's going to be what their wants and ideals are. So yeah, I think we got a really, really well-rounded Tabaxi Path of the Beast Barbarian ex-clerical healer here. And I'm really excited about this. I'm not a great artist. I'm not even a good artist in my opinion. But I like to draw up character sketches and everything, so I might try and draw up this Tabaxi at some point. I do plan on making a digital version of this character sheet with information about the background and all that kind of stuff, so that, and then trying to like maybe put it up on my Twitter feed or anything, be like, here's a character, a player, an NPC, anything that can be thrown into a game if you absolutely want to. Here is a free character that was developed on this series. Have at it. And if any of the viewers are artists and want to make art of this character, I highly recommend you do it. If it's something that I particularly like, I will commission for a piece if you do that. If it's something you just want to keep to yourself, by all means, that's fine too. I'd love to see it. And anything that does get sent to me, I'm not going to share or forward or do anything without express permission. And even if you do give me the permission, I will absolutely full credit to you, however you want to be credited. Highland Lass, as normally a forever DM, I have a game on Saturday playing a Tabaxi fighter. First time playing one. I've still never played a Tabaxi. This is actually the very first Tabaxi I've ever created. I've had co-party members play Tabaxis, and they were always either rogues or bards. I am being attacked by a puppy right now. She brought me her toy, so I'm holding on to the toy, and she's just trying her best to get rid of it. But yeah, Tabaxis, I like Tabaxis. I like cat-like creatures. I have some of them set in my fantasy world that I've been creating. They're a little bit of Dothraki from Game of Thrones, but they used to be a very, very high society, akin to ancient Egypt at the time of its peaks. But horrible calamities happened that basically made them lose their cities, have to go live out in the wildlands, and now they're just constantly warring with each other. Have flavored it as a Scottish wildcat. Oh, nice. Nice. I don't think I've actually seen a Scottish wildcat. I can actually Google that at this very moment, because I have computers. Google M's Scottish wildcat. Oh, that thing is adorable. Oh my god. Very rare and endangered. That makes me mad. That makes me mad. Is it were they killed off for their fur? They have very, very beautiful coats. And I know that typically smaller animals that have beautiful coats, they're typically killed off for their furs. But this, oh, they're so cute. Oh my god. There's so many there's pictures of baby ones. Oh no. I'm gonna be stuck on this for a while now, thank you very much. Be like, look at these little babies. I got to hang out with my buddy last night who has a cat, and I haven't had a cat in a while just because I haven't been able to basically take care of one. I'm not currently living on my own, and the puppy that lives here is not my puppy, but I do take very, very good care of it. Very wild, not fur. Diluted due to feral cats and possibly trapping and shooting. Aww. But if you keep cats around, you have fewer rats. Fewer mice and other little varmints. Oh, but they're adorable. Yeah, I got to see my buddy's cat, and his cat literally like came over and got behind me and practically kicked me out of a chair just because they wanted the chair. But it was good. It's been a while since I got to hang out and play with a cat. Oh, that's so cool. And a Tabaxi playing that would definitely have a really, really cool look on them. Given the patterns. You have 3 cats? Oh, you're so lucky. My neighbor across the street, because I live out in like country territory here in the Central California. My neighbor across the street has like 15 cats, and it's literally just because every house out here has a lot of property space and a lot of like open farmish land, and they started off with about 3 or 4 cats, and within like a month it turned into 15. So I see on our external cameras in the middle of the night, I'll see like 3 cats just circling the house. I'm like, what are they trying to do? I love it. I love it. All right. Oh, my phone is going off Oh, it's not the timer. We still had 9 minutes, so I think an hour and a half was a decent start time for this. I'm probably gonna stick to an hour. You're on an island. Oh, yeah, you're on an island. So and these cats are in your area. So that's really cool. So I know Japan's an island also, but it's not even that big, but it's a seemingly huge island. They have a lot of cats over in Japan. It's interesting. We have all sorts of things over here. Most of the time, we have hawks and ravens flying around my house more than any other animal nearby. And what's funny is, like, you'll see one hawk, and these things are huge, beautiful birds. You'll see it start picking on one raven, and like 10 ravens will show up, and that hawk can't get out of there fast enough. Ravens are no joke. You mess with one of them, all of them are coming at you. They are on the mainlands and the highlands, threatened also due to wind farm development and such. Oh, that's sad. Well, hopefully, there's got to be preservation things going on for that, to keep these things around. Let's see. Well, you said very wild, and one of the first things people apparently ask Google are, do Scottish wildcats make good pets? First response, they are notorious for being resolutely and impossibly wild. Oh, that's awesome. There's a website. A couple websites. There's one called Saving Wildcats, which is savingwildcats.org.uk, which is about the preservation of their species. So that's really cool. I love anything that's working towards preservation of certain animal species that have gotten down. I'm a big animal fan. I can't imagine my life without some sort of animal companion in it, because I don't think I've ever had a time in my life where that wasn't the case. When I was born, my family had 2 puppies and a cat, and so ever since then I've always had an animal in my life. But yeah, I think this character came out really well, and this is a series that I do intend on doing a lot of, because this is really cool, and I liked having to develop a background and everything for a character based solely on what random statistics were rolled into the game. And I feel we have a really nice fleshed out character that can be used in many different forms. So yeah, I'm gonna be definitely digitizing. Not at all. Highland Wildlife Park has breeding program. Was lucky to see one very briefly in the wild when I was a child. Aw, that's cool. Yeah, I'm gonna be digitizing this and probably sharing it on my Twitter page. This was really fun. I'm having a good time, and I plan on keeping an archive of these characters to like basically pull from. I do need to go through and add all the options from the Mythic Odysseys of Theros book and the Eberron Rising from the Last War book, because I just got those in mail last night. So I do need to add all those options in, which will, I think, bring the total number of ancestries I could potentially roll into 38. Which means fun math, because 38 is not an easy number to get to with dice. But yeah, I'm going to go make myself something to eat, probably some chili, because it's nice and chilled day today, so got my day off from work. But thank you all for being here. This has been a lot of fun, and glad you guys were putting in some input and everything, and I'm looking forward to this. I will always really enjoy this. It's great to see. Yeah, backstory creation is really fun, especially when you don't know going into it what you're gonna have, because this could have easily been a Triton wizard, for all I know, coming into it. And so it's on the spot. I do it timed. So far, I've given myself an hour and a half to both randomly roll up the stats and create the character to kind of help me get into a way where I can more quickly create these things in the event that as a DM I need to have a new character. I'm not just throwing, back the book veteran, throw it in there. What's his name? I don't know, Bob. I like the idea that if I need to throw in a character, might have to come in. Yeah, random tables do help. I can also try. I don't know how I would do it, but I can also try and share the tables that I made on my Twitter page, because they took me some time with math, and they're definitely going to need some updating with each new book I end up getting. And then I got to go around and I got to do the whole thing for Pathfinder First Edition as well, because I do have all the books for that. So that'll be fun, because there's even more books for that, I think, than there are for D&D 5e. But yeah, I'm excited about this. This was a lot of fun. But I'm gonna go get myself something to eat. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time.